Hello everybody, Darren here, and welcome back to Cities Skylines. Now in the last episode we reached the big town milestone, finally unlocking the high density zoning, as well as a bunch of new services and transportation methods. So to play around with that, I just lightly upgraded our commercial square to have some high density commerce and to have wall to wall housing, which created small little apartment blocks within walking distance of the square. Today we're going to start fully utilizing our high density living and start developing out our more densely populated city, build our first university, and try to invest further in our transportation network. Now because this is another large new expansion, I've decided to time-lapse building out the road infrastructure first, so we've got a good template to play the game from. Let's begin. Alrighty, so starting out, I decided that we needed a nice big roundabout that would sort of be one of the two confluence points that get people from our suburbs over to across the river effectively to the more densely populated city that we're about to start building. So basically just adjusting some of the houses here, adjusting some of the roads, and adding in this roundabout right on the edge of the sort of peninsula, I guess you could say, of the river, before we actually build that bridge that goes and continues on over. It's one of the nice things with this map. It's such a nice natural looking landscape, but that makes it a little tricky for deciding where you're going to put your bridges and where you're going to build things. So we've got this 3-lane roundabout now, as was advised many times over for me, and like I said, we're building into a bit more of a bigger, denser area. So now I'm a bit more comfortable using bigger roundabouts, 6-lane roads, bus lanes baked in, that kind of thing, whereas that other town really is supposed to feel like smaller suburbs. At least that was the idea. So just building the first bridge connecting across here. I thought the kind of 3 arches looked best. It was kind of trying to do like 4 or 5. And this place is on a fairly large hill. The map is called Hearts Hill, by the way. I don't know if that's the hill, but I've just basically erased it. It just seemed like if I want to build a densely populated city towards the actual coast, I just really didn't want that hill. And I didn't want this other part of the river, so I basically cut a little hole so that the water would kind of flow back out to the ocean. And then once it's drained, we'll fill it in. So just building this road, it's a 4-lane road. It's just a standard 4-lane road. I didn't want to overdo anything early on too much. There's going to be lots of space either side of this road, so we can always build it up and expand it bigger if we need to. But for now, it's just going to be a 4-lane road that goes around the city, similar to the one we have in the suburbs. But through the city, we're going to be building a 6-lane road with bus lanes baked into it, which I'll talk about once we actually get to it. So, in future, this could be a tram track kind of thing or something like that. But for now, it's just until we decide how our money situation is, don't want to go too crazy just yet. Alright, so you can see the bit of the river that I was chopping away and removing, so it's kind of, I'm pushing the water back out to the main part of the river so it can just get out. This actually wasn't connected to the river originally. It's almost like an oxbow lake kind of thing. It's just like a bit of water trapped inland, so just tried to remove it. There was actually a water source for it, which you're able to remove thanks to the Surface Painter mod, I think. Lets you pick up water and move it. Building another bridge on the other side, so this is the 2 sides of the river effectively. And the 2 sides of the boundaries of our town have bridges going across now up to this area. So just linking that outer road all the way around it now. And again, building the other roundabout so people can actually get out of the suburbs. There was a connection a little too close there, so I just chopped it away and we made it like a cul-de-sac instead, which is totally fine. And then just had to put the bus routes kind of back into place. Alright, so we are connected. Always just paying attention how the traffic is going back home. So now we gotta fill this space. Oh, actually, we haven't gone the whole way around yet. We'll do that in a moment. But here's the first use of the 6-lane road. So it's 4 lanes, standard lanes in the middle, and then 2 lanes either side, which are for buses. So 6 lanes in total, but really it's like a 4-lane road with a heavy focus on public transport. Maybe some of the service vehicles can use that outer lanes as well. And then the idea is just to connect this around the sort of riverbanks as well. Now, in the future, I hope to kind of dress up these riverbanks with some quaysides and different things so people can actually walk around, and we can even put some buildings onto them to make them look a little nicer too. Alright, so I got angles I'm happy with, and just made sure to keep those junctions far enough away from the bridge, just because it seems like you don't want to be piling up too much traffic too close to a bridge, where people tend to slow down as they come off it often, because the roads actually go narrower on the bridges. So I've noticed that they seem to go a little slower as they get onto it, but it's not, I don't know if it's supposed to or not, but that is what people do, in the game anyway. So this is the first one I actually decided to build a little off-ramp. A lot of people said to do this, like build a bypass, get around the roundabout, little link that just takes you to your immediate first turn. And I'll probably do it on the other side as well in the future, but for now, it's just testing it out. I used the highway ramp road because it's the only one I could find which is just one lane. All of the roads seem to be 2-lane. If you build... Yeah, right? They just seem to be 2 lanes. Now, I was thinking I could actually fill in the pavement island as well, so that way it would look like it's only just for them, because at the moment it separates it and makes it look like a junction, which isn't really how it's supposed to be. It's supposed to be just an off-ramp. If you want to just take your right before going onto the roundabout, you can do that. Keep calling it off-ramp. I know it's a bypass, but anyway. So here, I'm just, again, extending these 6 lanes out to be sort of the main, you know, it is like the arterial roads that go through the city, and then off of that we'll have the smaller, more bespoke roads. So I'm just connecting to that outer arterial road with these 6-lane roads. I know it's a bit strange connecting 6 lanes into a 4-lane. Like the 4-lane is the bypass and the 6 lanes are the ones that go through the town. But remember, I really do consider these ones 4-lane. They just have baked in bus routes. That's at least my thinking. And the ones on the outside, I just don't think the traffic's going to be that heavy on it. Maybe I'll be wrong, though, and we can upgrade them in the future. Like I said, I'll be leaving a lot of space. There's no zoning on them, won't be building houses on them. Not really, anyway. Maybe the northern ones on the coast, but not any of the ones. Anyway, here, I'm using kind of a little avenue street that has... It's just 2 lanes, but it has built-in bike lanes, so you'll be able to bike around the higher density residential areas and commercial areas. And I'll try to put in some pavement paths like I'm doing right now, just behind these different places to connect them up. And that way people can hopefully bike out to where they need to go. And should be encouraged to do so as well. I thought about putting the bus routes inside of these little lanes instead of the bike lanes, but it just seems to make more sense to me that the bus routes are on the outer lanes. People can walk to their bus routes or even bike to them, I think. And, so it just made sense to me to have the bike lanes on the inside, bus lanes on the outside, and then on the outside, just like a clear 4-lane road. So the goal for this densely populated area isn't for trams or anything like that, maybe in the future, but for now I'm planning it with in mind, just buses in mind. Intercity bus link is something we're going to be building straight away, and then just having a heavy focus on lots of public transport, connecting the suburbs to here and back, and then connecting even here just to the local shops, the university, high school, any other kind of big major service buildings as well. That's going to be it. Alright, ladies and gentlemen, there it is, the expansion to the little suburbs of Swords, now getting its first densely packed, more urbanized city district closer to the coast. So the idea here is that this is going to be divided into 3 districts for now until we figure out maybe what we need a bit more of, and then we can fill in the emptier pockets. I didn't want to build everything straight away. I kind of thought it'd be great to get your guys' feedback, see if I've made any glaring errors, and then, you know, adjust and build a dynamic city that's changing all the time. So effectively what we've got going on is this is going to be the residential district, so high density residential with some of the amenities associated with that. Then here I was thinking maybe somewhere here we'll put the university, maybe even a high capacity high school. Over here we'll do offices. Once we turn over some of that education, get some graduates, they'll have that higher education that allows them to go into offices. And then here we could have either more residential or commerce or a mix of both. So that's kind of the idea, generally speaking. So as I mentioned, the suburbs are almost full now. We have just this little pocket here left, and the idea initially was to build out some industry along here. We've got oil out in the Bay Area. That's not oil, that is pollution. We want to look at this one. So loads of oil ripe for the taking out there. It'd be great to build up some of that industry. It's a little awkward though, because it is out in the bay. I've never built oil industry before, so it's going to be all new to me. And our rail line is over here. So I was also thinking like, well, maybe it makes more sense to expand out this way and build it into this bay, because there also seems to be some out there. Loosely speaking, and maybe they can somehow get it from over there later. I don't know. I don't really know how it works. Either that, or maybe it'll be worth trying to somehow build a rail line in once we start unlocking more and more tiles. Now, I might actually start unlocking tiles more manually later, because the way the progression works in the game is you get it every kind of second milestone. So our next milestone, we don't get one, but the one after that, when we become big city, we do. And then it's kind of the same thing, but you start to get it a bit more. And then at the very end, we get everything, right? And that's because of a mod that's called 81 Tiles that just unlocks a huge amount of area for me. Now, this map was originally intended to be used with 81 tiles where you unlock it from the beginning. And the mods I'm using for realistic population also say that you are not supposed to go through the progression of the game. You're supposed to just unlock everything. It's more a way to build realistic cities rather than actually play through the game. But you can play through the game this way, and that's what I have been doing. I've been enjoying it, but it means that we have to create these little problems for ourselves because we don't have the tools to think that far ahead just yet. Well, we do now, basically. But, you know, without high-density zoning and without, like, some of the transportation tools that we've just unlocked, we couldn't really do much about the problems we were creating for ourselves early, other than just building a very basic grid-like standard small little city. So I'm glad we've done this organic city building. We've created issues, we're trying to solve them, and then now we're going to kind of do the same, but on a grander scale with more tools at our disposal to think ahead. So for instance, you know, even just small little things like, oh yeah, we've got a roundabout here, but we have a little bypass. I'm aware that this place is going to be probably quite busy. We could do another one similarly here. You know, we've just got a lot more forward planning to think about, and the roads are now in place with bus lanes and multiple lanes in the middle as well to kind of get us around. So hopefully it's just a little bit better planned. I'm not saying it's perfect by any stretch, but it should be better than it was before because we have more tools. Anyways, I digress. One thing I want to talk about, speaking of roundabouts, is the infamous, we haven't actually named this roundabout. It's got a lovely little flower bed now in the center of it with some trees and some just light foliage and stuff to make it look a little bit more finished. And I would say it largely is finished now. It's operating pretty well. So not to drone on about it too long, I know we spent quite a long time on this roundabout, but effectively I put some lane guides back in, but not to the full extent I did it the first time. So the first time I built a roundabout, I had tons of lane markings in, trying to consider, or what's the word, really think about every potential problem that could happen. But it's so dynamic with all the different, you know, we've got 2-lane roads coming in, we've got 4-lane roads, we've got a one-way street coming in as well, so it's just, it's messy. So to try and accommodate all that with lane markings was really difficult. Instead, now I've just gone for loose guides. So I'm not kind of doing it absolutely everywhere, but I've got loose guides telling them which lanes to go into. And I'm seeing that they're, generally speaking, making use of both lanes a lot more and getting around it a lot nicer. I had also thought about, you know, the bypass or building a tunnel under or making this two-way. It is a one-way road. The idea behind that was to take the pressure off this place. This place was getting really, really busy before, and it was really backlogged. Not anymore. It seems pretty good. And that the reason to, you know, lower the capacity on the roads for this particular junction was because you're near the big roundabout where people are coming in off the highway, and most people are generally going up this way. And that's going to be a problem with, speaking of the tiles and how we've expanded. The highway just comes in here. That is our outside connection. We do not have a highway going up to this area. So everyone coming into the city up here has to, currently anyway, has to travel in on this roundabout, come up and around, taking our 4-lane road all the way out. So it's a bit of a journey until we get a few more tiles expanded and we can maybe build our own intersection that brings, or just, you know, extend our own highway further in. Now you could extend the highway and really do a major redevelopment, but I didn't want to do that. I think we'll be fine with the 4-lane road. We've increased the speed to 80, so it is a faster 4-lane road than it would otherwise normally be. I think it's normally 60. Actually, I think it's normally 50. Yeah, we can see right there, it's 50. So we have to go around and update that to 80 now. You can go much faster in this road. It's totally fine. I'm letting you do it. That roundabout's at 40. That's fine. We'll put that up to 60. Should be okay. It's a 3-lane roundabout, and then with 80 all the way up here. All right, so we'll start actually properly playing the game now and start developing this area out. So 80 all the way up. Just keep it at 80. They'll naturally slow down as they pass over junctions and nodes as they go in, so it's just the overall speed limit, not the speed they have to go, as my instructor's been telling me. I've actually just done my third driving lesson already. He had some cancellations, so I had them back to back to back, and I've got another one later on today, so I'll have 4 by the time this one comes out. And I'm loving it. It's great. It's really, really good so far. And I think I'm getting along just fine. Alright, so our 4-lane road's going in this way. It's technically a 6-lane road because 2 of the lanes are reserved for the buses and taxis and maybe some of the service vehicles. They're listed as 60. I'm just going to leave it at 60. I think that's fine. 60 for the inner city roads, to me, is totally fine. And then, even though this is, in theory, a smaller tier road, we could upgrade it in the future. It's a 4-lane road, not a 6-lane. It's going 80, but it is the sort of outside bypass, if that makes sense. So we'll leave it like that. Alright, anyways, let's get to putting down some things. So the first thing I thought would be a good thing to do... Well, first off, we have to do water pipes. Probably should have time-lapsed that, but I just realized it after it hadn't been done. So we'll turn off grids, and we'll just come in on the major roads and start getting the water pipes down so we can put some of our infrastructure in and certain service buildings. Just go around like that. That to there is fine. But I meant to say, yeah, sorry, the traffic on that roundabout is really good now. So the loose guidelines, not going overbearing with lane connectors, just doing it lightly to kind of guide you just when you're on your way out, just to tell you what lanes can do what, seems to have encouraged people to use it a lot more correctly. Not perfectly to real world standards, but pretty good, and at least making use of both lanes, which is really the important goal to keep traffic moving. Alright, we're nicely connected. We'll just bring this down here. And then there's just this section. So yeah, I'll be looking for your feedback on the layout of this place, just generally. You can, don't worry if you want to be negative, it's totally fine, or say like, what you think I could do better, or what you think could be a problem coming up, or something like that. Totally open to hearing it and improving on it. If you've watched any of my other series, you know that's how I roll. Basically, I'll do a few things, people tell me what I'm doing wrong, I'll fix it, and then tell people what I learned, you know? And then people come along and say, oh my god, you did so amazing. And I'm like, you know so much about the game. And I'm like, well, when I started the series, I didn't. Alright, so are we all connected up? So that kind of connects us all the way up and around. We're not fully done, but for now, that's totally fine. Power will just have to be filled in whenever it kind of gets... whenever we see it appear with certain buildings. So the first building I want to go with, just to get us started, is going to be an intercity bus station. So bus stations use coaches for people to travel to and from the city. Bus station requires highway connection. So that's an interesting thing, right? This one requires a highway connection. And that's because intercity doesn't mean between this area and this area. It means between this city and another one off in some, highway somewhere else. That you'll have these intercity connections. People coming in, tourists, different goods, that kind of thing. So you need a highway to be able to spawn the buses, basically, that come in. So anyway, it needs a connection, but you don't have to actually build it on the line for the bus line, if that makes sense. You don't need to stop on the highway or something, or near the highway to tell it. It knows. So bus station doesn't require intercity bus line or stops, but allows the placement of regular bus stops on the bays. So in looking into this a little further, we have our regular bus station, and you can see all of these little indentations or all the different stops that it can have. So it's a confluence point. It's a meeting point of several different bus lines that can all kind of exchange, and people will kind of wait here to get on the different lines that they need to and then make their transfers. Now they can do that anyway at a regular stop, but it's just a way of kind of accommodating more people and more stops in one place, I guess. But I'm going to go with this one instead. It's a little smaller, and I think it's got enough that's totally fine. It operates the same way as far as I can tell. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. About 7 or 8 stops in total. So that's totally fine. And then intercity buses will come along and drop people in and out of it as well. So we'll pop it somewhere here. I think this is a fine location to get us started. So what did that person say about it? A new affordable intercity connection. I love, love, love it. Hashtag bus. Counting pennies. Yeah, so... it's going to bring tourists into the city. I think it also brings people who are moving in for the first time. So we'll actually cut down on some of the traffic that would otherwise have been coming in to move into these first higher density residential blocks. So we'll save on a little bit there. All right, we have our first power issue. So we'll just drag this all the way out here and see if we can just connect it over to the water or something. All right, so that's power delivered and that's water hooked up. People also mentioned in the last episode, sewage. Sewage has the same icon as sort of garbage and industry in the budget panel. But it is actually indeed controlled by the water meter, I guess, if that makes sense. Yeah, sorry. So when people can't dump their sewage, you basically get this icon, right? You get the garbage icon. But garbage is separate to sewage. Sewage is controlled by water. So I actually was bringing this number up, and then I put down another eco water outlet, and people had pointed out rather correctly that that wasn't the thing that was affecting it. I need to increase water if we wanted to actually fix that sewage treatment problem. So we'll do that in future. We're totally fine for now. But I'm sure as we level up, we'll probably have to do it quite soon. All right, so let's get going. So these guys have their power. We haven't given them any lines yet or anything like that. In fact, I'd like to give them a line straight away before we even move people in. So really just pre-prepare everything. So the first line can Do we want to start here? Yeah, why the hell not? We'll start right there. We'll come around and go right, following our bus lane. And this is going to be an awkward one, thinking about it, because it has to go... I effectively want it to go... Yeah, so we'll stop there, just before we come into Robin Hills. And then it's got to go all the way down and around, and find its way along the roundabout and into the city here. And probably link up on one of the same spots, maybe this one. Right outside Victoria Square. So this is our town to city link. Okay? And then we'll just continue to there. So it's going to go up and around rather awkwardly, but I guess I don't really mind that. Maybe we can adjust it in future, but just to get the ball rolling. Alright, now we just basically link this back up to where it was. But we'll turn in this way now. So I would say right around... right before the turn. Probably a good spot. And then in you go. I know that's really close. I don't know if that really matters. Maybe we'll bring this back a bit then. Well, we'll just connect it and then I'll bring it back. Alright, so it's connected. Drag this back a bit. Now we'll just hit pause. Don't want buses rolling out on that just yet. So this is going to be bus line 6. What color should it be? We already have red and yellow. I guess green? Maybe a sort of a palish green. Don't know if we need alternating route on that one, because it's just a link service. But you guys let me know. Alright. It's going to be set to 19 vehicles. So, I was reading about this a little bit. I think it's based on the length of the line. Because that's a lot of vehicles. It's way more than any other line. So we're going to radically reduce that down. Maybe to 10. 10 seems like even too much. But I assume it's because the length, like how much distance is on the line. 10 kilometers. Alright, and its activity is going to be day and night. That's totally fine. And that's it. We'll just let it do its thing. Now, during nighttime, it'll be half the amount of buses. Well, yeah, I think so. So we'll see how that all shakes out. But less, I'd rather do less at the beginning than too much. That's just the way I like to do it. And then we'll ramp it up if it needs it. So we'll hit play. Let those buses start rolling out. So they're still going to come out of our depot. That is down in our industrial district here. And something I've been meaning to do. I've noticed the buses go out and around this way. I don't know if this will work. But let's just see. With road rules. If I said that you're allowed to do a U-turn there. I assume that means merging. I'm not actually sure. Or crossing lanes. Let's see if those two rules are established. Now that's weird. But it does mean that they get out faster rather than going up and down and around. I don't know. You let me know if you think I've got a better solution. If you've got a better solution for that. Because I also don't know why this car has just stopped. What are you doing? Driving to work. And you work there. Well, I would say you're there, basically. No? Have I messed something up for you? Let's, I gotta be honest, I don't know what this means. I thought that, I guess I would assume it just means change lane, but I don't know why you wouldn't be able to just do that anyway. I'll just leave it. They seem to have worked it out now. Yeah, it's almost like that needs to be a mini roundabout or something for that to really make sense. But anyway, at least the buses are rolling out. They'll go on the roundabout. They're going to head into, I suppose, probably one of the first stops, right? Oh, there they are. You can see them snaking their way along. Yeah, so they're going there. Oh, I thought they always go to the first stop, but I guess not. Seems like they're going to the closest stop. It does bother me that all buses roll out at the same time. I wish they would kind of do it every hour or something, but it is what it is. All right, let's begin zoning. I know it's taken a while. Let's start. So we have our high density residential zone. We'll just spam it in the middle here. I've just noticed an issue with this. The zoning's not quite right. Let me just get rid of that road and put it back down. This happens sometimes. Is the grid on? The grid is not on. Wonk. There we go. It's fine by me. Okay, cool. Alright, all of that. High density. Just like that. So they're going to need education services. So they'll need their own elementary school nearby. So a high capacity elementary school seems good to me. 800 student capacity. $26,000. And it's going to be $416 per week. So we'll just pop that maybe here because this is a wider road. So other people that are coming from other places could maybe get to it as well. So just like that, new elementary school is ready and operational to serve more students. See you in school, says Max Mason. Alright, so they're going to be happy with that. Another thing I was having a look at is some sort of park. Level 2 unique building, we have a friendly neighborhood park. This is a very normal neighborhood park where everyone's friendly and where children like to play and families go out for picnics. There's something very ominous with the way that's worded. If it's a reference, I don't get it, but this actually fits really nicely in here, so we'll just pop it right there. So right across from our new buildings coming in, they've got at least a small little park to play around with right in front of them. Now I've noticed that high density buildings say that their level up info, it'll tell us in a little bit, but it's not actually based on the same stuff as low density. It's based on education. So as long as these guys are educated, they should start growing. But that could take a while. So we haven't put anything in there, so we'll just drag the power line out this way for the moment. Until power starts to grow a bit more considerably. Alright, we got our first bus coming in. Anybody on it? Nobody on it. But that's alright. I have no doubt this will be used well in future, especially once this place really gets up and running with some shops and things. Speaking of, let's begin our zoning for shops. So, high density commercial zone. I was thinking right here. So this is where I'm going to put a... What's it called? Actually, we'll start down here. Why not? You know what? I'm going to change another thing. This road. Yeah. Can this come out to the edge? It can. A little bit of Anarchy. I think that looks really good. It's actually sinking below a little bit. Maybe with the Move It mod, we can select this node, use page up just to move it up a bit. And there we go. Close the gap. I assume people will walk between these pathways. I assume. So, hopefully that's all good. So, another thing, just to prevent any forest fires or stuff that might end up happening, we'll just turn these off, select these trees, and just get rid of some of them. And actually, I remember at the beginning of the episode, I had saw some trees. Yeah, there they are. I saw trees on this road. Let's just clear those. There we go. All right. Looking good. All right, look at this. Buildings are popping up left, right, and center. People moving in. How many people we have? 73 households. That's more like it. We've got some thick buildings now. Now, apparently there are mods that let you choose the kind of buildings that you want. So I've noticed, like in Find It, if I use zoning and I go to something like, let's say, a high-density building, I can choose my building. But the problem I have is I cannot then get, like, the little accoutrements that you get along with the buildings, right? So if I just look at this area, you know, it obviously takes up a 4x4 area, or 4x3 sort of area. It's got little parking spaces, some trees and stuff in the back. It's all paved. That's great. But if I just put down a building, I don't get that with it. So I don't know how you do that. I'm guessing it's that mod Rico people have told me about. I haven't looked into it. I don't know if I want to get so granular where I'm literally changing buildings, because you could spend such a long time doing that. But maybe when the city is really packed and full, then you can go in and start getting a bit more granular with the details. But for now, I think I'm totally fine just leaving it, seeing what kind of appears. Maybe making some historical. I actually did that with the apartment blocks because I don't want them to level up any further. So these are all historical. They will level up, making us more money, but they won't grow in terms of size. And I'm happy with that. So keep them historic so they don't overshadow this area, if that makes sense. All right. So yeah, things are looking good. Now, something else we might have to do is actually force these buses to use these lanes properly, because what ends up happening on a 6-lane road like this, as you can see by the marking, is that buses that are in this lane have to turn right. They're not allowed to go straight. They don't have this marking that lets say go straight and right. They just have the one that says turn right. So what you'll see buses do is they'll be going along here and then they'll hop out and then go straight. Now, I don't know what works in the real world in this regard, but this seems ridiculous to me. Buses should have the potential to go forward and right, in my opinion. So that's the way I'm going to design it. So let's get started with that. So we'll just have to go up and down these roads. And we can use the lane arrows to make this a little simpler rather than the lane connector. And just go like that. Boom. So we're just going to follow this up at each junction. Okay. Simple. And you can turn left. So basically, you should be a mirror copy of the lane next to you. Well, maybe not the lane next to you, but whatever this one can do. Whatever the ones on the extremes can do. Because that's what you're doing. And that way we should see our buses just kind of make use of them a lot more rather than me having to tell the bus specifically. But I could do that as well, just in case. Now, I suppose if you design bus routes, you could even get a bit more granular with it. If I know that a bus is never turning left here, I could get rid of that, I suppose, but I don't know why you'd want to do that. Alright, there we go. So that's that kind of done. Let's just reverse, and we'll just do it on the other way back. Try not to take too much longer with this. Sometimes it already has it, which is the other confusing thing to me. Maybe it's based on the type of road it's going into. Okay. And you can go left here as well if you want. Great. So then we've got our side streets. So there's 3 to do. We'll just do this one, because I won't really be using this one for a while, I don't think. So you can take a left there. You can take a left there. And you can take a left there. And when we come back down... Actually, you know what? I'll keep my same orientation, otherwise I'll lose track of what I'm doing. So just go like that. Yeah, you can go forward or right. That's totally fine. Forward or right, that's already set. And that's just like that. Okay, cool. So now we'll reverse one more time. You can go left. Yeah, its rule system seems to be that if... Oh, no, it doesn't really matter anyway, but yeah. Alright, let's just rotate one around one last time. I get really squiggly with this, but almost done. Yeah, these are all good. Great. Alright, so that should be fine for these guys. How are we doing power and water-wise? Are we okay? Seem fine. There's a fire already. Well, that reminds me. So, we have our water pipes. We have our intercity bus. We've done some of the road speeds. We've done a little bit of zoning. Although we haven't done commercial zoning yet. So, we'll do that, and then we'll put down some service buildings. So, yep, we'll put in some commerce right there. That's actually way too much. So, let me just pause it before that grows. Let's just keep it short and sweet for now. Just do about there. Okay, so service buildings. I thought maybe this little pocket here would be good. It just happens to kind of fit them. I mean, I totally planned it. That's why. So we've got a firehouse right there. Totally fine. Could go with a fire station and stuff, but I just don't think the capacity is going to be needed for that just yet. We can obviously upgrade in the future. So for now, don't want to overspend. Police station is fine here as well. Now, if we notice that too many of these cars are out and being used all the time, of course, then we increase it. But until then, we don't need to. So again, let's just give them power lines to connect these areas. And maybe a local healthcare facility. So we'll just give them a medical clinic nearby the school. And we'll keep it out facing out this way on the road so that people can get into it relatively quickly. Now, to get to this, and to get to this, you have to be going this way. If you are on this side of the road, you cannot pull across that way to park in. So that's just something that people have to bear in mind if you haven't thought about it before. With this many lanes on a road, you are not allowed to just kind of cross over and park where you want. So these facilities are really only for people that have, maybe you've come out this way, you're turning down here, and then you turn left again, and then you come in, you can park. Or obviously walk. That's obviously a way you can go as well. Just something to bear in mind, I guess. And something I'm kind of struggling with, trying to wrap my head around and get a bit better with it as well. Also, these are bike lanes. I think I'm going to switch it back to pathways because pathways can be used by bikes or people. It seems like people don't use them unless they are pavement. I thought they'd kind of use both, but I guess not. It seems like why can't you just have one that's both? Well, this is both, I guess. But one that has like path on the left and cycling on the right. You can build them next to each other, I guess. But that's a lot of space, I feel like, just for a bike lane and a pedestrian lane. But you can tell me why I'm wrong on that, I guess, if I am. Alright, there we go. So it's just changed back to being a regular paving lane. This area might have to change in future. Again, this could come out further. We could fill this space a bit better, I'm sure. Wow, we've filled in the high density, no problem. 8,622. So we've grown 650 people so far. Anyone on the bus routes just yet? Still no. So let's make people use these routes, eh? Let's put down this university. So I was looking through the university and the different variants we can have. So we've got this one, but I actually like the look of the one at the very end. It's part of a DLC, the Green Cities DLC. Modern Technology Institute. And it says it's an alternative to the university. I don't know if it teaches people at a slower rate or anything, but I think it just looks cooler as a building. Its capacity is 4,000 versus the capacity of this is 4,500. The electricity usage of this building is slightly less though. 1,200 versus 1,440. The water usage is less as well, 480 versus the 640. However, the income, the upkeep is 2,400, whereas this is 1,920. So it's Less in terms of electricity and water, but it's more in terms of straight up money, and it has slightly less capacity. But I just think it looks cooler. That was the main reason for using it. So we'll just slam it in somewhere here. Why not? Boom. Umber Heights University. And if we need room on this side or something, we can shift it a little bit. But we'll leave it there for now. See how we get on. And then the only other thing that these people obviously need is a high school. So a high density high school would be good. High capacity high school. And I was thinking somewhere down here. Not facing out on the road though. I want them to come into one of the avenues. Is that crazy? Let me think. I don't think so. Not entirely sure. Maybe just push it up to here. Don't know if they feel the effect from that. Oh, they do. Okay, good. So to get to high school, we'll need a bus route a bus that's going to take us around this area and this area. So let's build that out, now that we've all these things in place. The fire is over, by the way, so that's all good. So seeing as it's getting late, we'll build a new bus route. So again, we'll start in maybe bay number 2. And could stop right there. We want to double up a stop right away. I feel like this stop is so close, people would just walk that. We want to come in, drop people right in the center here. This is where commerce and the university is. And then we can go up to here. Maybe about there. Come down. Kind of talking myself out of this route already, I feel like. Although there's going to be multiple bus routes in this place, so I'm just trying to think about the other ones. So this is kind of like our education route in a way. If you want to go to the university, you're there. If you want to go to the high school, maybe these should be separate though. Let's say that this one goes through. Yeah, it just goes to there. We'll come back around this way. Add the stop here. Come back around down this way. Just trying to think how we're going to go up this way. Yeah, that's okay. We'll just leave it at that. I don't know. Should it have come in further? Or is this enough for people to make the journey out that way? Not too sure. They've also got to stop down here. I just don't know if buses need to go in and out these specific areas. I feel like this is a pretty small walking distance for a lot of people. Like, even if you're down here, I feel like it's not that long to get to there. And then just to take you up to the university or whatever. But, you know, feedback. Oh, I'll monitor it, really, and then see how it's going and adjust it accordingly. Alright, so we'll call this the purple line. And maybe this would need alternate route, but we'll leave it just as one for now. Just to see how we get on with this kind of standard usage. Also, maybe worth changing it just to see if we can lower down the amount of buses at first. Probably a bit too much. No, there's only 4. Okay, yeah. Yeah, it seems to be based on the distance. It's nice to see we got some people coming in and using the place just a little bit now. We can speed up time. So let's continue building out. We have our commercial district building up there just nicely, so I'll fill this area, seeing as we have the demand for it. We'll fill this as well. Just get a bit more... what's the word? I'll just speed up the amount we're doing it, really. Put down a bit more, now that we can afford it. And things seem to be handling it just fine. Power to the people. How hard is it to build a working power grid? It's actually probably quite difficult, I would imagine. But the power is working. No one doesn't have power. Oh, these guys don't. Oh, it's the high school. Yeah, yeah. Sorry. There you go. Umber Heights. So I haven't really thought about what policies we give these guys. Education boost. Education overworking for young adults. Increases education budget by 25%. I don't think they need that. For-profit education. Education building upkeep is reduced. It reduces citizen happiness, though. I feel like that's pretty tempting to use for a little while. Just because this isn't going to be near capacity yet. And until it gets there, then we can kind of like pay for the full thing, if that makes sense, without lowering the education budget of everybody. Although that might be something we have to do. Because the way it's handled in the game, the budget panel, the education is all one budget. It's like, well, I'd like to lower down the budget for the institute, the university, because its capacity is 4,000. We're not even going to fill 1,000 for a long time. Whereas the other buildings we will, eventually. So these guys are in need of more workers, highly educated workers. We don't have any yet. That's what the university's there for. Hey, we're seeing a lot more usage now, so we finally have the purple line traveling out. I've changed that color just a bit. It's a bit too bright. Uh-oh. Traffic flow has gone down. That's just because of, yeah, I know it looks bad. It's because of new people moving in and new services and stuff traveling along. Once all these places fill up, it'll be okay. Although they are going a strange direction, thinking about it. I'm not really sure where they're coming from. I wonder if they come from out here and then just pile in this way. That might have been what they did. Just make sure our speeds on this road are set so they don't, so they keep it with good priority. This is one of our linking bus routes. We got 16 people on it, so that's good. 13 people on that one. 7 on that one. See, the buses have obviously just rolled out because it's morning time. And I imagine this will be a busy area where we're picking up people all the time. Yeah, so we can actually see, based on their color, which bus they're going to be getting onto. This bus is hanging there a long time. There we go. So that bus, I imagine, is now at capacity, is it? Yeah. And then the next one's coming up. Okay, cool. And this is shipping people all the way along. Out this way, and they'll use our little off-ramp thing. Well, they should. Some people are just using that anyway. Why is that? Well, that's not right. Let's fix that. Should we do a lane connector thing? Is that better? Whoa, you're kind of going over the the pavement there, dude. And there's trees in the road. I don't know why these keep growing back. That's better. That should smoothen things a little bit. If you're just going right, which pretty much everyone will be at first until we build out up here, and potentially, you know, over this way, everyone should be using that off-ramp. Alright, good. Well, we seem to solve that little bit. Do we have people waiting down here much? Yeah, some people are waiting now. This is to go, you know, leave this area to go back into the suburbs, basically. So we've got a bus coming to pick them up now. 5 people on it. That's what I like to see, because then it's going to fill up pretty well. Up to 20. Oh, look at this guy. He's like, no, don't go without me. Oh. And then we can follow our buses back out. So what's on this one? Well, it's an intercity bus. This is just one of the random ones that spawn. So obviously just came in and dropped people off. It's a nice looking bus. It's quite long. It's 60 capacity, actually. Maybe these ones should be like that, thinking about it. Would that make more sense for our connection line to be a bit bigger? So the green line. So what could we do? A biofuel bus with a capacity of 40. Or an articulated biofuel bus with 75. Let's just do that and see what happens in future. Whoops. Yep, not enough people for the jobs. That's why I was trying not to build out too much at first. These are going to go abandoned now. We just need more and more people to move in. Wow, we're making money. Oh, you know why? Because when you build all these new businesses, I bet, without looking at it, I bet that this warehouse is going to be empty. Oh, it's not. It actually is still 41%. Okay, I guess I'm a little wrong. Maybe there was a bit more in there. But what I found is when you get new commercial buildings, what will often happen is they pull from your products, right? So you're not exporting off the map anymore. You're filling straight into your own demand, which is good. And that's why the money will go up. The money's going up because your own city's buying it from you rather than exporting it off to a different place. Right, capacity of 75 should be interesting to see how these get handled as they make their way into the center here again. So again, a place like this, a lot of people, 75 capacity, big long bus, but bus routes pretty much the whole way once they get into the town and begin their route. Alright, here's our first one coming up now. So 0 on the line right now. All these people, I'm sure, are waiting for it. I know we can check that, but let's just watch them. Oh, yes. How good, how satisfying is that? And then we'll follow this bus out and see how it goes. An articulated bus. And it's biofuel as well. Now, because it's articulated, we could probably have less buses on the line if we wanted to. This is just normal game speed now. Nice and slow. We'll speed it up just a bit. So these buses don't have any other stops really until they get in there. But it's connecting two major areas together, I think, which is good. It's an interesting vehicle, watching it move. These are like those airport shuttle buses almost. Alright, we're on to a higher speed now. This is speed 1, so just watching it kind of move, seeing how it's getting on. I haven't done any of the lanes for this bigger roundabout up here. Wow, there's a lot of people waiting there actually as well. That's weird, their bus stop is there, but they're all here. Okay. Maybe a little graphical oddity since building this roundabout or changing these roads a bit. So he's using an inner lane. I'm guessing he's going to go into the wider lane on the left. Let's see. Yes. That's just default roundabout rules, by the way. I haven't messed with that at all. So I was just kind of curious to see how it worked. Now, coming up here, you're going to all want to use this bypass, no doubt. Sorry, how's this bus going to handle that? Or are you just going to take the roundabout if you can't move over? Or are you just going to stop until you can? Oh my god, that is absolutely not allowed, I would say. You should have just gone into there, buddy. You can't be just cutting across people like that. What the hell is that about? Alright, your rule is that you can... And this says that you can't turn right, I would have thought. Yeah, something like that. Maybe. I don't blame the bus for what it did, really, but it shouldn't have done it. Alright, almost there. We pulling up to the intercity bus station in a second. People might be getting out here, though, first. 64. Yeah, it is a wonder. Is it at any point in stopping here at all? Probably not, thinking about it. If your thing is just right there. I mean, I guess people could walk straight in. We could give them a pathway, actually, from that bus stop, thinking about it. They want to just get to it or get away from it quickly. Even just that. How many is on this one? 45. Seems like pretty good flow, traffic flow here though. People are moving nice and fast. Now, why have you gone on this inside lane? What the hell is your problem? Why the hell would you do that? This is why I feel like I have to go in and manually tell. Look at this. It's so ridiculous. You had a bus lane the whole way. This is why I'll have to do the vehicle restriction thing. Not that it's a major problem, but it's like, why are you doing that? So yeah, you'd have to click like here. Sorry, vehicle restrictions. There we go. And then I gotta say no, 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 and no. So do not ever do that. But that is a pain in the ass. I won't do it in front of you guys because you get annoyed by it. Also, I think it's actually a good idea to block the city, the garbage trucks and stuff from using these lanes too. Well, why not let the garbage trucks use the side lanes? That's a good thing to me. They're never in some massive hurry where it's really a problem. That they'd be stuck behind a bus or something. It's like they're usually slower, if anything. I guess that could slow the buses, but we'll see how that goes. I'm fine with that. Anyway, let's just leave it like that for now. I might do more of that in between the episodes. Got a busy junction up here now. How's traffic? 80%. Got some abandoned buildings up there. Yeah, we're going to be seeing this backed up. This is only going to be backed up, I'm fairly confident, while new people and new services are moving in all the time. Fairly confident about that. But at least they're using both lanes. That's a good thing. So I'm happy. It's as good as it can get with a roundabout that size, I think. And considering the volume it has to deal with. How's our university going? So 97 people are students now using it. We could de-zone that area just a bit, maybe. Because they're just not going to fill. Just let the ones that are there fill for now. All right, let's just keep going with more residential. Residential is going to be totally fine, I think. Just zone all of this. Yeah, local commerce here I think would actually be nice. Just around the elementary school. What else? Yeah, just more high capacity here. And we can do out this way as well. We'll just wait for these ones to move in first. High school, 178 students out of 2,000. Something I haven't, I just realized we haven't given them any death care. Do we have an incineration, what's it called? The crematorium incineration plant. That's for garbage. Crematorium, 16,000, man, that's rough. We could get them their own local cemetery up this side of town, though, if we see that because the hearses are coming from all the way over here. Hearses in use 3. Yeah, I'm not surprised. There's only 3. Jeez. That's rough, man. You've got a lot of distance to cover to pick up people, and you will, especially when these places really start to fill. So, what do we got? 67 out of 73 households, 97 adults living in there at the moment. 25 young adults and 15 children. No seniors. Uneducated, 134. So that's going to take a while to get them all educated. It's going to take like 5 years probably until they start really getting into that university and coming out of it. What I was thinking, though, we could also buff up the industry out here now. Just continue out that industrial road a little bit. And if we have a look at the size of this building, sorry, something like that. I'm just trying to think of the size of it sideways. I don't know how long it is. There we go. Okay. So let me try this then. I've already lost it because I had to look away. I think there, though. I think there. Do you fit in? You do. Alright, I'll show... how much is this going to be to move this building? 3,200. Oh, I was pretty much right. It was just 1 over from what I was initially thinking. Alright, so the idea is that I want to move some of the flour mills closer over to here and keep them kind of in the same area and move the slaughterhouses over this way, just to compartmentalize it a bit more, and then we can build another one. Or build extra milking parlors or something, because I don't really have any of those. So we've got a warehouse here for animal products, a warehouse here for flour. Put this on balanced. Let us export some of that. Yeah, so I'm just going to bite the bullet. Move this out if we can. So we need to paint our industry area further. Alright, Crown Farms grows. So Crown Farms is really close to hitting its next milestone. The mod actually that deals with balancing this for the realistic population mod just updated to say that it uses less, they toned down the amount of vehicles, I think, because they felt like it was too much. So I think our traffic's been a little bit better. Don't know, still looks like we have a lot, but we are using dirt roads, which is fairly slow. Okay, because yeah, we're overstocking crops all the time, so I just thought, yeah, we want to obviously get more out of it, and we have people who are looking for work anyway, so why not? Because we have a lot of jobs that are for highly educated people. We don't have any of those. We do have a lot of people that are not educated that could work out here for a while until they maybe get that education, because they can take different jobs as they progress later on, so seems to make sense to me. We're almost at 10,000 now. So yeah, just very quickly, let's throw down a few extra of these guys. So let's just smoothen out the terrain, because it seems a little rough. It seems like, yeah, the right click is almost like a repulsive force, and the left click is an attractive force with the smoothing. Not that it's massive, but it's just there's a slight dip. Alright, so we have the money. We've really good money, actually, so it's not really a problem just adding a few more of these buildings. I'll move the slaughterhouse first, though. Excuse me, I have to sneeze. Alright, so you go there. You go over here. Oh, you can't. Space out of city limits. Oh, you're killing me. It's like a pixel over. Damn, undo doesn't move it back. Crap. Oh well. Let's just pop it here for a second. I'm going to delete that road. Move it over a bit. Can we put both on the same? No, it'll be out of the city limit again till we expand that. Alright, so my initial idea was just to get a few extra milking parlors, because it has the right amount of kind of education level that I was hoping for. So, milking parlor, maybe 2 or 3. Let's see how we do with that for crops. It looks like I've killed electricity doing this. So there's 3 right there. What's this? This is the flower. Yeah, I kind of want to bring these all into the same areas if I can. It's going to cost me a lot of money just moving things, but I'm going to do it anyway. Alright, shift you down right into the edge. And we'll grab your buddy and bring you over as well. Alright, can you fit in here? You actually can. Probably not a good idea to be there though, right? Coming in off of the roundabout and stuff. Can't be turned sideways. This warehouse deals with animal products, which is what we make from all the milking parlors. Okay, better idea. Let's just move these down a bit. I'm gonna Anarchy that one, because it's only overlapping just slightly on the road. It's okay. Oh, it messes up the... Maybe we can fix that. Can we raise this? Does that help? Is it raised super high? A little bit. Alright, that's fine by me. Right. I know I'm being very messy with this. Let's just get these guys over as well. So, the idea here now is this animal product warehouse can be there. The good thing with this is as they come out, they're all driving on this side of the road and then they pull in and drop their products in there. So it's a bit slightly better flow, I think, to this area. Or should be. They still don't have their power? They should have power now in a second. There we go. Alright, does leave a gap here for something else. We could always put more barracks or something in the future. Or another warehouse doing something else. Crops, for instance. So we have our flour mills. So we've got 1, 2, 3, 4 flour mills and 2 slaughterhouses in total. So the slaughterhouses can go on this side, across from each other. They need water. That's doing flour. Can we move this in here by any chance? No. I think the cows are just like, where do I have to go? That's awesome that they actually move into their building. That's so funny. Oh, there we got old man Bill tending to them, guiding them along. Heading back to... Oh, right, they're heading to the milking parlor thing. Yeah, yeah. That's funny. And that's our main building there. Interesting. Don't know why we've got a crosswalk thing there. We can get rid of that. Can I get rid of this? There we go. Yeah, I might have to play around with it a bit more. I'm just trying to think, should a road go this way and up to here and connect like a big grid? Maybe. It might make the most sense. Hey, we hit the next tier anyway. So, we got our large grain silo and a large animal pasture, food factory, large crop field, and a large fruit field. What's a food factory? Is it a unique factory? Clothing factory. There it is. It is. So, it takes in... flour, paper, plastic to produce food products. Unique factories can be placed outside of industrial areas. Wow, it's pretty big. Jesus Christ. Holy shit. It's huge. Alright, well, we look into building some of those high-end things, especially once we get our own oil industry up and running. We can make that plastic stuff ourselves, which would be exciting. And then, you know, we have the rail line right here to export it. Should take it straight away. Yeah, let's have a look really quickly just at the end here of this episode of the large field. Large animal pasture. We want to look at the large crop field. Yeah, so this one will take up the space of 2 together. And then we'll just say wheat, why not? So, for comparison's sake, we can see that a large crop field produces 5,600 per week for a water cost of 640. The regular field, right, because this is worth 4 of those, right, it's worth 4 of these. The regular field does 400 water. So for the surface area, you're using far less water, which is great. This produces 2,400 units of food per week, whereas this produces 5,600. So we're getting less food out of it, though. Far less water, but less food ultimately. But higher ratio, right? I think so. So still probably worth doing these. But if you really want to, if you can afford the water, I suppose, it's like, well, you'll squeeze more out of it if you get these. And the upkeep is 3. The upkeep of this is 10. This would be 12 if you were to have 4 of them in position, though. It's kind of interesting. I'll work out those rates a bit more in future. See what we need to use. I like using a mixture, though. It can be nice to break it up visually. Alright, we'll leave this area. I know it's a little messy. I'll just think of where a Jenga style we can fit these in. Or Tetris style. But I am thinking, like, yeah, this road can continue out this way. Maybe build a road alongside here if we could. It's unfortunate this building is irregular in shape. It's kind of interesting that it is, but it is weird. And yeah, we've got plenty of more fertile terrain to work with as well. So we've actually got a little empty space there. Maybe we could pop the slaughterhouse there and use this road going that way to have farms out this side. That would maybe make sense. So I'll think about it. All right, let's see how we're doing out this way now. Our little area, Robin Hills. Demand again for more residential, more commercial, still for industry. We just put down a bunch of new jobs, so I'm not really going to be putting down more industry anytime soon. If we have a look at this, 9,500 jobs available. So there is 1,000 jobs available right now, just not enough, but there's still unemployment because people aren't educated enough to take these jobs, because it's largely these ones, I think. So yeah, we just can't zone high-tier commerce yet, really, effectively anyway, because there's just too much need for educated, well-educated, and highly educated. And it seems like, to me, people aren't really going to be making the journey out from this side of town to go all the way out there. Seems that way anyway. Even with our buses, 53 passengers on the line. So if we just have a real quick look at the end here. Our green line, intercity, 94 passengers. Weekly passengers. I mean, that can't be right, because we know that one bus is taking at least that. So it's obviously way more than that. Weekly passengers, 92. So car trips saved 22%. That's what we like to see. And then, yeah, basically they're just really busy when they're picked up here. I might reduce down some of these other stops, though, because we're seeing, like... yeah, very few people using it. Like, if you're being picked up to go all the way out to the town out here, do we need to stop here and there? Probably not. We probably just need the one. People will walk over to it. I don't think we need to be stopping across from each other with this kind of thing. Because it's not like you're getting on here, you're going around, and then you're just getting on again. Yeah, it doesn't make any sense. So we can reduce the amount of stops as well, speed up the flow of this. And that might help things as well, just a bit. I don't know, to prevent slowdown. Yeah, I'm pretty happy with the expansion so far. So in the next episode, just going to keep zoning residential, filling this place up, watching our students fill up here, here, and here. And as long as everything's going well with that, as long as everything's going well with that, then we can just add on a few more services, start building out more and more commerce. And then as these houses get more educated, they'll actually grow and fill more and more people as well. So we should be pretty good. It'd be nice to give them more parks and services around this area, though, and then I'll look into policies too. But other than that, I think we are good on this episode. Pretty good start, I think, to this little area. No major traffic issues. The only places that were busy have kind of settled now, but once we keep zoning, we'll get these pulses of just super busy roundabouts, effectively. But then once that will just clear out naturally as the place kind of stabilizes, I think. So we should be fine. All right, that's going to have to be it for this episode. Look forward to the feedback on this one and suggestions, of course. Thank you very much for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.